I'm that girl who loves you so much. We're basically family now. I have shared so much of my personal journey with you all, so raw and so brutally honest, and all of my faults and flaws, and all of my inner workings, and all of my own personal journey. I share my private situations with my children and my family. And, I try to share as much as I can to be able to help you understand. With sharing my own experiences, so then you can ponder if this is going to work for you. And obviously, for those people who don't have children, no, it's not always going to work. But as we know, we love our animals just as much as our children. And we all have worries and fears for our animals, and we always feel like it's interesting, it almost feels like lots of people want to, I don't know how to say this. This is not what they wanted me to say and talk about, but what they wanting me to acknowledge to people who have their fur babies, who absolutely love and adore their fur babies. Please don't hold back your love. We know that you don't hold back your love to the animals, but you're almost dismissing your capability of loving others, because you sort of think that love is different for animals versus people or for children. And so for someone out there, sorry, super random, for someone out there who just has their fur babies, your team is wanting you to know that your pure love for your animals is so profound and is exactly the same wavelength as if you had your own children. And they're wanting you to know that love is love, regardless of what you love or who you love. Love is love. And I feel like there is someone who doesn't have children that is wondering, could I have been capable of loving a child? And this is because they've had their own, I want to say, abusive childhood. Gosh, this is feeling very personal. Sorry. Bear with me. Someone's had an abusive childhood, and they were so afraid that they would repeat the pattern. They chose not to have children because they don't feel like they've got enough skill sets or the capability of loving, because they feel like they were not supported and nurtured in the way of being given guidance to be a parent. I feel like that's not the case at all. You're very capable of loving, extreme levels of loving. Actually, you're very selfless. But your team is wanting you to know that you are very capable of loving and nurturing. And for those people who are blocking the thought of not having children because they didn't have the confidence of that, can we put that to bed now, please? So interesting. Sorry, this is weird, guys. Okay, so not weird, but I mean, it's beautiful. And it breaks my heart to think that someone out there loves profoundly and still judges themselves and think that they're not good enough because they're not loving a child that they have. Just because you didn't birth your puppies and your kittens doesn't mean you don't love them as much. And isn't that interesting? They wanted me to say, those people who adopt, it's love for love. Just because you weren't the birth parent doesn't mean that you don't have profound capabilities of true, pure love. Makes me feel a bit sad, actually. I said I wasn't going to cry today, so brace myself, compose myself. That there is someone out there that thinks that their love is not enough. And we know that we always judge ourselves, and we always feel like we lack skill sets and patience and a whole lot of stuff that we think that we would need. Anyway, sorry, it was weird. I was almost about to stop there and think, oh, where is this going? Someone needed a big hug today. And I love you all so much. And it is extraordinary times. And it's like someone wants to yell to the world, I'm in love with my animal, and this completes me, gives me great joy and a peace. But they almost have been the blocking, stating how profound their love of the animal is for either fear of being judged or someone dismissing them. Oh, well, it's only a pet. Who cares, really? Is this animal getting older? This person's starting to really worry. This only being that I love deeply is going to have an exit point. Oh, it's the same. Okay, so yeah, we know exit points are emotionally really challenging to get over. Absolutely. But this pet is not exiting to teach you a lesson. This pet is exiting because it needs to shift because your love for it, your love for the animal is distracting you from loving yourself and loving others. And you're like, but other people are hideous. Other people are stupid and dense and mean and horrible. And you're comparing your unconditional loving being animal, your fur baby, to other humans. And other humans can never match up to our beloved animals, because our pets teach us unconditional love, and we love them that so much that we do desperately, with great joy, distract ourselves, because this animal, this soul family, is so giving and nurturing and supportive and loving, and never takes from you. And you find people take from you. Gosh. Okay, well, oh, that's heartbreaking. But I can see it very valid at the same time. And so trust you will meet again. Trust your souls agreed to have this experience. Feels like you were supposed to shift together, but because we've got this blessed delay, the body has given out, and not the heart and not the soul of the animal. And they want to reassure you of that. Their love for you is so intensive. Okay, sorry, this is this is not what these videos are for, but someone's been needing some big support. So anyway, love you, and I'm always happy to help when I can. And practice not crying. So the actual message that I wanted to say today was about change. We all want change at some point, but what are we willing to do for it? And so often we think, I'll just manifest it and then it'll just come to me all delivered and perfect, and I will just unfold it like a beautiful gift. And I feel like our teams are saying that it's not how it works. So it's true. If we just did nothing, I'm just going to sit on my butt doing nothing. I'm just going to binge watch everything I possibly can, and I will just focus on my little family, and I won't do anything else for humanity. Yep, that's fine. That's a valid choice. Absolutely. And we would shift. At some point. But if I focused on helping humanity and keep doing what I'm doing, and trying to, raise my vibration and be really mindful of my processes and opinions of perceptions, I hope that with all that hard work that I do to be able to help raise the frequency of the vibrations of humanity, I would like to think that we get to New Earth a little bit quicker. My little part may get us, 3 seconds earlier. I don't know, but I wouldn't want to make that choice of not helping and not being of service, knowing we could get there 3 minutes later. So, it's kind of like the little game I play with myself and thinking of, we're all part of this and we're all super significant. And so what are we doing to help with the change? And some of us, again, exhausted and wanting to retreat and not deal with things. And what I keep hearing in sessions recently is the reason why we're having these big clashes with governments is to derail them. So exciting. And I love that. And I love that. And I love that. And I love that, because we shouldn't be ruled and controlled and manipulated, should we? We've kind of done that in history lots of times. It doesn't really work out for much people, apart from, a few egos. And, we haven't really come together as a unity to be able to really show humanity that it's got its back, and we're all in this together, and we're very capable of living our own ways, of our moral compasses. And when we actually have to feel part of a community, because we have got that unity and acceptance and respect, and we're not afraid of each other, because we don't actually have any fear with each other anymore, because we know we're part of a team, a real team. This is exciting. So what is happening in my country and a few other countries is having to stand up for change. Actually having to do something for change is hard work, my friends. It doesn't get done. It's just like that washing that just sits there looking at me, and I look at it and think, why can't you do something about yourself and your state of your washing to the washing? And I mean, I know that's just, sort of making light out of this really challenging situation, but everyone, I mean, am I going to change? Am I going to start changing and folding the washing before putting it away? Probably not, because I'm going to pick my energy. I'm going to pick my choices of what serves me the most. And I could probably start doing other things to distract myself while I'm doing the washing. Absolutely, I could. But for me, I'm wanting to empower myself. I know if I folded all the washing and put it all away, it's a never-ending cycle, and I just know it's, I could try and get into a good routine and maintenance, and maybe I should. Maybe that's my inner work, and I've just been laughing off as a joke all this time. How hilarious. But I think because I was so focused on how I was supposed to keep the house and how I was supposed to, be the little housewife, even though I'm not married to a house or to a person, all these little assumptions and roles that I put on myself that I thought that I was supposed to do to be of service. If my house cleaning skills was a definition of how I would be of service, we would never be shifting ever. Okay, so they're pausing me to say this. When the bigger events happen, they do not want us addicted and following blindly our governments. And so this is why many people, now I've just got the realization of why they wanted me to do the buffer at the beginning. So people who listen to these sessions, they sort of pick and choose. And if I'm just ripening on about, this beautiful love connection that this animal has with its owner, they would have just thought, ugh, stuff this, I'm not listening to this. And so those people who have stopped listening have gone now. And so now I can say the bigger information. Weird. Okay. It's been a strange week, my friends. Anyway, so what they're saying is that they're waiting for certain systems and structures to break down. So then when the bigger events, say, for example, the laser happens, we're not still, God, they're wanting to say this, suckling the teats of government. Okay, yeah, this is really one for the books, isn't it, this session? So this conversation. So can you see how the change has to occur? We have to come together and find like-minded people and have the confidence that we can actually stand together, hold the line, hold the unity, hold the compassion, consideration, support for each other profoundly. How many people have you found who've gone to these rallies, instant friends, like family, like you've just re-met each other after, a vacation, 3D life vacation. So moving forward, I'm going to try and summarize this. They're in an interesting mood. They're trying to encourage people to realize this is the steps. that need to happen to step up. And they haven't wanted to profoundly spell it out to you beforehand, because they were hoping you would be inspired and encouraged to feel into it and start doing it yourself. But now there are some people that are still a little bit afraid and not realizing the power of your voices. Oh, guys, come on. We've overcome that, haven't we? We've overcome that shyness. We've overcome that fear of someone giving us a thumbs down or a dislike or some sort of trolling something. Remember, trolls' lives matter too. And we can respect all life contracts and choices. I just think a troll is one of those cactuses that is so hurt and misunderstood by themselves that they have to hurt others. So anyway, getting back to the point of today, they wanted me to say to you all, for those who want change, and we ultimately do want change, right? We all want to shift at some point. When it's the best for humanity, we understand that we can't, even if we ignored it, my friends, even if we're like, oh, I think that's all nonsense. That shift to New Earth sounds like garbage. Well, cute, that's fine. Go have your own session and ask your subconscious, which I have nothing to do about. So I'm not like whispering to your petitioner, and then you're going to New Earth. It's a new planet. Like, yeah, I love that. I love how people want to sort of heckle me and say that I'm creating all this information from other people's sessions where I'm not even the practitioner. But that's cute and all. And if you think that someone's higher dimensional master guide will just repeat stuff from my sessions with all my hundreds of different clients, if you think that that's possible, that I've got something to do with it because that's my choices, that's a really interesting assumption. So anyway, I'm just this little messenger. I'm just that girl who just asks questions and then tries to find her big girl pants quickly when trying to process this information as we're going on this roller coaster ride of 3D emotions and preparing ourselves for quite a big event. And for those people who are listening who have already, I feel like a lot of people who are listening actually have evacuated many planets before. This is the reason why they're here now, because they've got that drive. They know intuitively all the other signs of what is happening on this planet and the energy and all this stuff. And they've got great connections to teams and blah, 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 blah. And so, I just want to reach out into the world and give you guys a big hug and say, it's all going to be well. And isn't this just another, this is just something else for the books, because all the other planets we've asked about that have needed to be evacuated in other sessions, either through, clients' regressions where they've had to assist. It's so challenging. Every single time is challenging because the people who are on the planet refuse to trust and accept and go. And then they either get blown up on that planet or they get left and they have super struggles. And, it's a lot. There's so much to say about sessions. There's so much to say about how we should be moving forward. But my recommendation and my plead to you is to empower yourself so much that you're not afraid to use your voice. Focus on what needs to occur. Focus on the basics right now, that the misuse of power and politicians and professional industries need to be questioned. And you're all very mature in your awareness of life, and without being aggressive or sarcastic or any of those very tempting things, because it should, it's what we all want to do right now, isn't it? Be super sarcastic about the nonsense and how so many people are getting away with naughty behavior from our perspective. But lessons, purposeful. Oh, yeah, I get it. Some days I don't want to get it. I want to be like, no, there's no purpose to this. There's definitely no lessons ever. And then, I get over that little tanty, and then realize, oh yeah, of course there is bigger stuff there. But when I'm just wanting to feel into those emotions and frustrations, I can do that really well for as long as I choose. So anyway, we need to encourage those who are finding strength in their own self-empowerment to stand up to manipulation and control that has not been serving humanity for a long time. And so trust, the more people that step up and be of service and support those who are on the front line, who are wanting to work together, even though they may have different agendas. Some people are super sensitive about, like say, for example, in New Zealand, let's talk about that, just so you can understand. I can give you an example. So in New Zealand, we have this 1080, which is supposedly great to kill lots of rodents, but it kills a lot of our really fantastic bird life as well. And it's poisoning the water, and it's doing a really lot of damage versus, say, the rodents. And this has been going on for decades. It's really shameful, actually, when you look at New Zealand being clean and green, and yet we are, I want to say napalmically nuking our ecosystem. It's not quite like that, but and I'm trusting that our teams. I haven't actually asked about 1080. Maybe I should, because maybe I'm still coming from a fear of the government's bad and doing horrible things to us, and maybe the teams have already figured that out and are protecting those animals. And then I'm hearing our team saying all those birds and that wildlife just wanted to choose exit points of being killed by man. Okay, so sorry, I feel like I'm the 15th tangent of this conversation today. So anyway, so people are in Parliament wanting the mandates to be dropped, and there are also some people that are still trying to push and get people's attention of this 1080. Regardless of the purpose and significances of it from metaphysics. People are really sensitive to this and really frustrated that, it's not being taken seriously, and they're not believing the research and the other stuff that goes with it from, the official narratives. And so, and I'm assuming like in Australia and in Canada as well, there's other people that have those other kind of, yes, mandates are great, but they've also got their other little really sensitive bits that they're wanting change from. And so that's fantastic. Everyone deserves to have their own opinions and perspectives, but coming together to be able to really point out to those people, they're wanting to make a joke and say, for those slow kids in the class that haven't noticed the control and the manipulation and the disintegrity. What are they trying to say? Those people who don't have integrity and are placed themselves in a position of power, but they don't actually have humanity's best interests. They have sold themselves out. They've sold their positions out for money and personal gain and advantages. And they're very short-sighted because they think that the money that they are earning through this being bought is going to set up their families really comfortably for quite some time. And they sort of assume that the impacts, say, for example, getting rid of all this poison. I'm using my 3D mind, not tapping into the metaphysics, not tapping into the higher dimensional beings. There's always going to be significance and purposes. So anyway, sorry, this is a weird one. I'll wrap it up. So the more people can awaken to the agendas of the governments, the more easier and faster it's going to be for things to shift. And that's for sure. So they don't want the government to be taking over the narrative of when the laser event happens. Okay, so can you see the significance of everyone rallying together? The big thing that I found really interesting when I was doing my research into what way of the life is going to be for those who are on the old earth is finding those communities and relying on each other profoundly. I know I can see that happening now. Virtual strangers relying on each other as they're living on, Parliament grounds here in New Zealand in their second week, and have formed communities and routines. I think there's a school, there's a preschool, they do yoga, everyone pitches in. And so I'd be really curious to see what collectives are all working in there, supporting each other. I know people's contracts are changing as we're getting these extension times. It's very interesting how I have regular clients and their contracts are changing as things are needing to extend out, and there is a lot more kind of now. It's definitely starting the old earth experience in terms of that community and relying on each other and really trusting each other really profoundly as they're creating their new sort of worlds. Some of them think that they're creating their new earth now here, and that's a mindset that they're creating, and it's a community that they're creating, and they're establishing more physical, practical experiences than say what they used to be doing. If they were like doctors and nurses and teachers and things like that, they're actually being a tribe again. And it's always very interesting. I don't know what's going on today in terms of this. So yesterday I gave you a message about all your teams, giving you big thumbs up and saying good on you for using this energy and this information and then sharing it with your communities. And a few of you have wanted more messages because they're like, was Joe talking to my team? I really would like this. So some of you have been using your free will to send messages out to your teams. And so now that I've opened up talking to you and connecting in with you again, that's what they've been doing. Well, gets the job done, doesn't it? So thank you for listening. Those of you who are still here, listening to me verbally chat away. And I guess that's why, as I'm more comfortable sharing my thoughts and feelings with you and getting out of my discomfort with sharing my vulnerabilities in the way that I work and process things and feel into things. So just me. And so the biggest takeaway for most of you would be, what are you doing to help those people in your lives and help those social circles start questioning the leaders? And this could be said not just for the political leaders, but for all leaders in every industry. If they're not truly being of service, if they're not truly got the best agenda, then they have to be kind of dethroned a bit. That sounds a bit mean, but you know what I mean? Like those influencers who have had all these choices and all these epiphanies to step up, it's time for them to either step up and be true leaders with honesty and integrity, or they're going to be dethroned. So whatever that looks like, it's interesting. So I love that you guys have loved yourself so much that you're getting more stronger intuition. And I know many of you would be getting little epiphanies of where you're supposed to be of service and how you're supposed to be of service. And remembering that we probably have some close cactuses in our lives. And if we could just fully make them, instead of resisting and being afraid of them pricking us, brace ourselves, overcome our fears and worries, love ourselves, and know that whatever they try to say to us, because it will just be words, and words have never hurt us until we buy into it and believe into it, and then punish ourselves from someone else's perspective of us. But because we love ourselves so much, we know who we are, and we can see that someone's just trying to get a reaction to hurt us, so then we can lower our vibrations to match them. Because it's kind of like misery loves a party. And so when misery loves a party, they'll try and do everything that they can to kind of bring everyone with them. And so it's a choice whether we want to dip into their frequency or not. I feel like there are so many hostile partners out there for those people listening that remember they are hurt children who have not been able to heal themselves. And so they're still reacting, they're still afraid, they're still scared, they're still coming from fear, and they still haven't really dug into any of their inner work. And their belief systems on the world's probably really scary and will hurt them. So they're going to hurt people first before you hurt them. They're still in that reactionary knee-jerk response. And so if that is the case for your cactus, all you are able to do is reassure them that you love them, that you are never going to abandon them, never going to hurt them. And you just love how you can connect them with each other and share your feelings and thoughts. Praising them for being able to hear your thoughts and feelings is going to be a really great start. And so however you need to reach out inside that little cactus and squeeze it, and so that little hurt child can know it's safe and acknowledged and loved, and it doesn't need to be protecting itself from the world. So interesting times, and I encourage all of you to empower yourselves to be able to really give everyone in your life that strong sense of unconditional love that you have for all. And it's amazing what a simple compliment can make for someone's day or week. And so let's start sharing the world with compliments, genuine ones. And when we start sharing our truth and empowering, uplifting people, they can grow very fast. Because when we've been hurt by those cactuses for so often, we really want to remove ourselves from their energy. And they get hurt by that because they can't see the reason why we're rejecting them is because they're hurting us in the first place. They're quite clueless to their own behaviors and actions, but they're very sensitive to ours. So there's that to consider. Okay, my friends, I love you. Celebrate not being a cactus. Celebrate seeing the things from the bigger perspective, because we need to get more people power. We need to get more people feeling confident that they can stand up to these systems that have always run over humanity. And so in sheer number and sheer honesty and sheer unity, love will win. Much love to you guys.